Up until the ninth inning, it looked like the Dodgers kind of remembered how to play baseball in Cincinnati. It turns out you got to score more runs than the other team. For the most part, they did that, thankfully. Today, we are talking about that Dodgers win, Mookie's breakout performance. Is Mookie all the way back? I want to pretend he is. And the big news involving top infield prospect Alex Freeland. All that plus trade deadline predictions that are sure to make us look stupid on this edition of All Dodgers. Coming at you live from my home studio and their home studios and all the places. This is the All Dodgers podcast, because I like saying podcast when I push the memes button, buttons, whatever. Anyways, the guy over there is Jeff Snyder. The guy over there is Kevin Skinner. We are the triumvirate or whatever that make up the All Dodgers thing that is on the internet. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your cat, tell anybody that likes the Dodgers. The Dodgers are all the way back. I wish they could always play at Great American Ballpark, because they seem to play really, really well at the Great American Ballpark. Jeff, what'd you like about this game?
Yeah, I liked how the Dodgers scored more runs than the other team. As Richie says in the chat, breaking news, if you score more than the other guys, 100% you win the game. Hashtag baseball, baby. Hashtag free Richie.
Just baseball things, you know. It's crazy how that works. Kevin, did you learn something here so far today?
I think I learned how to say a new 80s band name, right? Or it's the same one, just relearned it.
Just so everybody's
2 days ago.
So everybody's aware, he has multiple times remedied his Dio whilst we were waiting here for this game to end. He understands the name is Dio now. You have to watch the whole show and every show to understand that reference. But boys, the MV3 did things in this game. Teo,
wait, we talking about us or those guys?
Are we the MV3? Probably the baseball.
Oh, we're the biggest, sexiest menage a trois.
We're the biggest sexist online.
Good job, Dennis.
Somebody make that a t-shirt. But Teo did things. Shohei did things as he usually does. Freddie did a little bit of something. But most importantly, Mookie did something. 2 hits. Had a walk in there. 3 runs scored. Even threw in a stolen base to try to make Jeff's preseason prediction of a 30 stolen base season maybe potentially be a reality. Now, gang, here in the chat, we see y'all. Appreciate you guys hanging out. I see Eric Arco saying Mookie magic. We have teased ourselves a lot about the idea of Mookie being back. He looked a little bit different in this one. Started off the game with a little bit of authority with that leadoff double. Should we not get our hopes up yet? Where are you at with this one, Jeff?
It is one game, but you know what? Every good streak starts with one game, and so I wouldn't say that I would pull an Emmanuel Clase and go put money on it being real.
No.
But you know what? Yeah, I hope it's real. And he looked good. I mean, he was hitting line drives. He hit into a double play, but it wasn't a pop-up. And I know that a result of 2 outs is worse than a result of 1 out, no matter what that guy from that other podcast might argue with you on Twitter about. I'll take a hard ground out once in a while over a weak pop-up, because it's indicative that maybe something better is coming. I love the hard line drive to start the game. That's what we like. I've said many times, I don't need Mookie to hit 30 homers. If he can hit some line drives like that, because that double down the left field line that's kind of classic Mookie for me. That's when I think of my favorite Mookie swing, it's a line drive down the left field line.
Kevin, on top of Mookie, having everybody do a little bit of something in this game. Well, I mean, no, there was a comma there, I guess, or maybe, I don't know. Just
there was
you understand what I'm saying. There was a setup. Other boys did thing in this lineup. The bottom of the lineup was a bit of a struggle there. Ha-Seong Kim, not so much a factor in this game. Dalton Rushing, not so much a factor in this game. But there was a lot of things, I think, to like. And considering where I was at earlier today, where I just felt like I had said on Dodgers territory, I was like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. It was very disappointing watching this team. Today, after this game, all of a sudden it feels better. Like there's a legitimate smile on my face. And where are you at offensively before we glaze all over Yoshi Yamamoto?
It was definitely nice to put up 5 runs, and the way they did it didn't rely on the home run ball, which they can get a little home run happy at times.
That's big.
The way they did it, and against the Reds, who maybe not in recent vintage have we considered them much of anything, but this season, as not Rick Monday, Jesus, Ted Neverett kept mentioning on the broadcast there's
Tim
6 games.
Neverett?
Yeah. It's called Ted?
Ted's evil twin, Tim.
No, I said Tim.
You said Ted.
It sounded like Ted, but even so.
I meant to say Tim. I know who he is. Yeah, it was. They're 6 games over 500. They're playing really good baseball lately, and sometimes when the Dodgers catch these teams that are really hot, they don't do much about it, and they just kind of get steamrolled a little bit. And today they kind of showed that they're still the Dodgers. They're gonna pitch well, play good baseball outside of another Michael Conforto. Yes, thank you, Manny Man 5 Dodge. Appreciate you.
Ed Dio, I love that band.
Yes.
One of my favorite bands.
Great band. So, Conforto's defense still proving to be a little bit of an issue. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. But the offense, it did look good. Miguel Rojas is making the most of his opportunities as well. Yeah. We might not mention too much of him, but he's looked pretty good at the plate.
Yeah, somebody had mentioned that in the chat as well. I mean, having him leg out, hustle out a double to open up the second or third inning or whatever it was, and then if that happened, and then him not getting stranded at second base is where I start to feel gooder about the baseball sports team that we watch. Start to feel like maybe they're actually putting some pieces together. But like the chat, it's noticeably different. The pulse, the flavor of the chat today. This was a good game. Overall, a good game.
Yeah, it seems like there's fewer weapons involved in the chat. Like, I feel like last night, everybody was like, Aroldis Chapman shooting their washing machines while they were typing their comments in the chat,
Too soon?
What other closer from other team can I pick on, Who else we got?
We have an Emmanuel Clase in here already today. We have, now Aroldis Chapman. So, guys, drop your closers. I don't know, steroid Gagne, is that a thing? It's not really like a bad
not very
thing.
topical.
It was sort of not frowned upon back in those days. But the other thing we really need to talk about, though, is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. When he is on, the dude is absolutely really on. And, Kevin, to what you were saying, too, about this Reds team, as somebody said, the Reds were red hot. ADK saying that with the pun intended there. He shut him down. The Yama working with run support is fun to watch, but 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. I forgot to put down the punchies there, but he punched. This is a dude when, again, you feel really, really good when you're ace. 9 Ks on the day. When your ace is on the bump, he's more often than not going to play that stopper, and he did today, and all of a sudden you got the start of a win streak going here, gentlemen. Jeff, reactions?
Yeah, and the 1 run that Yamamoto allowed was on Andy Fletcher because he got a strikeout. Andy Fletcher didn't notice. Next pitch, guy gets a hit, ends up leading to a run.
I cannot wait for this.
Coming into this game, I was nervous because Andy Fletcher was coming into this game the second worst umpire in baseball this year. Lucky for Rob Drake. Rob Drake has a pretty hefty lead. It's remarkable how much worse he is than everybody else. So I think Andy Fletcher will still only be the second worst umpire in baseball after this game, but he definitely didn't move the good direction on this list. But Yoshinobu Yamamoto looked awesome. His ERA is down to 2.48. I think maybe we take it for granted. Like early in the season, we were all talking about Yamamoto, how great he was and everything. And then he struggled a little bit. His ERA is 2.48, and next time he makes a start, it's going to be August. We are 2/3 of the way through the season, and he's got an ERA better than Clayton Kershaw's career ERA. And Clayton Kershaw has the best ERA in history among people who pitched when people used actual baseball bats or whatever. I don't know what the live ball era means, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a lie. You know all the things. We're aware of that. Kevin, any final thoughts on this game before we tell people about Bet Online and then we talk about Alex Freeland?
Yeah, I think a lot was really kind of working against Yamamoto this game, in my opinion. The umpire strike zone, as Jeff mentioned, was abysmal. At least the broadcast was. I couldn't even watch the game. I was having to listen to it on the radio when Clint's Slack messages weren't interrupting the broadcast. But I could tell that the strike zone sucked. And then watched the last couple innings and definitely corroborated what the broadcast was saying. And on top of that, Michael Conforto can't come up with another fly ball. The defense isn't doing Yamamoto any favors. And on top of that, he only gave up the 1 run. And I liked how he was getting his strikeouts and using an elevated four-seam fastball. That's not something he generally typically does because of the fastball shape and all that. But if he could actually use an elevated fastball with success, that splitty is going to be even nastier. So that's a new development in Yamamoto's repertoire that I'm excited to see if he can actually keep utilizing moving forward.
And he was even playing the 4-seamer off the 2-seamer. Like there, one of the strikeouts, he threw the 2-seamer, the sinker, whatever you want to call it, that had the tailing action that just looked like his splitter except harder. And then he went upstairs with the 4-seamer, having the two fastballs playing off each other with that much different movement. That's been a huge development for him this year.
Yeah. Young, free swinging team in a ballpark that is very conducive to long fly balls that go for homers. I like the change in the game plan, and that's one of the things you really got to love about Yamamoto. And you understand, like the people who are like, well, I can't believe they paid $325 million for this guy who never pitched in the league. That's why the dude is really effing good at pitching.
So just for Josh
throwing
Reddick?
a baseball.
Wasn't that just Josh Reddick?
Was it? I mean, I'm sure.
I know Josh Reddick tweeted that. So I assume.
I'm sure there were
a lot of people a lot of Yankees fans.
The good person in me just assumes that nobody is as dumb as Josh Reddick, because I don't want to think that ill of my fellow human beings, you know?
Yeah. That is fair. But I was going to say a lot of Yankees fans after he, didn't sign with the Yankees. But guys, want to pause here for a second because I do want to tell you about Bet Online. It continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. I don't know if you're actually able to bet on trades, but if you could, you can go to Bet Online. You see the website there on your TV set or your phone set, whatever you want to call it. Baseball season is in full swing. Football season is around the corner. Bet Online has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting from MLB, UFC, tennis, NFL futures. Bet Online remains your choice for the sports wagering info. I'm mixing up two different parts of the read here, so my bad. You don't have to rush through it is the point here, boys. In between games, head over to the Bet Online Casino. They have all the top Vegas style games, including poker and live casino. Head to the website today. Take advantage of their industry leading VIP program with level up bonuses and weekly cash boosts. Check it out. Bet Online. The game starts here. And the news, so one of you guys called it a phone set. I'm very much assuming that was Jeff, but the big news, I don't know if it's, I know, right? Well, I think, you're the only, no, Kevin has access to all Dodgers, but I digress here. Alex Freeland is reportedly coming up. If we got a tweet about it, this comes from Fabian Ardaya of The Athletic. Dodgers set to call up top infield prospect, Alex Freeland, a guy we've talked about a lot over the course of this season, more so Ryan Ward of late. But this is a guy, I think he's 3, 4, or 5 on their MLB pipeline, their top 30. He's had a fine season at AAA. And first, we'll talk about that, what it means for the roster. Kevin, what do you think about the Dodgers finally making a move to bring up one of their prospects, one of their internal dudes?
Yeah, I'm excited just to see what he can do. Heard a lot about him. It's always pretty exciting when the Dodgers promote somebody because there's always a little bit of pomp and circumstance. I remember when Andy Pages was getting called up. I was pretty excited about that one. Even Outman initially too. But Alex Freeland is definitely one that everybody should be excited about because he is an infielder. Mm-hmm. And we know Max Muncy only has so many years left, so that will eventually be a hole at third base. If Alex Freeland can stick at shortstop, maybe you can move Mookie to second. Stuff like that, again, gives the team a lot of flexibility. Just really excited to see what he's got from the bat. And at the bare minimum, he should at least make the bench better, which I'm excited about.
Jeff, what are you thinking about Freeland?
Yeah, it's interesting timing for sure. Knowing that Muncy is about to come back. I mean, I guess in the very immediate future, it does open up third base for Max Muncy in Oklahoma City because they moved Freeland mostly to third when Muncy got hurt. But also, it seems to me like this is at least a part. I saw somebody in the chat asking if it was a showcase for trade bait. I don't think it's that. I not that I don't think there's a chance he gets traded at this trade deadline, but I don't think they're planning on trading him. I think this is he's gonna have to get added to the 40-man roster after this season anyway. We're late enough in the season. They're gonna make a move. Obviously, they'll have to make a 40-man roster move to get him onto the 40-man roster.
From what I understand, they have an open spot right now.
They have an open spot. They need one for Blake Snell.
Yeah, they will need one for Snell over the weekend, but they can play with their open spot.
How did they end up with an open one? Must have been anyway.
Trevino, maybe Trevino. I don't know. That should have been might have been Trevino, but anyway. That much aside, they're definitely going to need to protect him at some point. But also getting him some playing time is good for him and the team.
And when you think about the big picture, Tommy Edman has kind of been the Dodgers' third baseman. He's been bad and probably still hurting, and probably those two are related. And so, Miguel Rojas, who, like K-Pop said, we maybe don't give him enough credit, but also he probably shouldn't be playing every day. And so this gives them another third base option. They are saying there's a chance that Muncy comes back this weekend. I don't think that's likely. I'm guessing he'll take at least a weekend in his rehab assignment and then come back. And so it gives them something there. Knowing that Edman is probably hurting and that Kim is definitely hurting says, one of those guys is probably going on the IL right now. And this is a chance to get Freeland. It was always going to be an injury that gave Freeland a chance to get up here in the big leagues. And that's probably what's going on here, even though, there's probably a couple guys on the active roster right now who, if they don't put one of those guys on the IL, Ruiz and Outman are both easy calls to send back to the minors for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Freeland. Not expecting too much just because I don't want to get my hopes up or anything. But a switch hitter, fun to watch, plays good defense, should be fun.
Yeah, I love the idea of giving him this shot right now. I'm seeing a number of people in the chat pointing out, it's likely going to be something related to Ha-Seong Kim, because Kim has been struggling. We heard over the weekend about the shoulder issues that's been kind of plaguing him over the last week and change. That's the one that seems to lend itself to the most obvious, but also Outman and Ruiz, you don't need two defensive replacements on your 26-man roster. You don't need 2 of 13 position players to be defensive replacements, and one of them not really being a defensive whiz in Esteway Ruiz. So it's most likely Kim. I'm not mad at it if it is an IL move, or even sending him back down to AAA to kind of get the confidence going, because he has looked really, really bad. Really, really bad.
I actually think it will probably be Kim to AAA, and it's like that is both an IL stint and just getting him different at bats. Like, I think that maybe the shoulder injury isn't such that he needs like every day off, but this will give him like more at bats, build up his confidence, and he doesn't have to just sit for 15 days or whatever it is.
It's only 10 days for position players, and you can do it. I don't know exactly how the rules of rehab assignments work. I would imagine they could put him on the big league IL and immediately send him on a rehab assignment to Oklahoma City, although there is a limit on how long rehab assignments can be. I got nervous in the chat. Our buddy Mike said Muncy's starting with Oklahoma City tomorrow in Salt Lake, and I got nervous. Is Oklahoma City back in Salt Lake again? They're not. It's in Oklahoma City against Salt Lake. So gotcha. I don't have to feel bad that I won't be at the game, asking Max Muncy for his autograph or whatever.
Don't do that. You have to be a professional.
Yeah, Kim definitely seems like the most likely person who's losing a roster spot right now, however it is. And you know what? That's okay. It could be good for Kim.
For the folks who haven't paid as much attention to Freeland and the minor leagues and all that, he started the season off really, really nice, but 94 games this year, entering play today, 12 homers on the season, 30, I'm bad at math, this. The 30, now this is making it worse, 38 extra base hits, 71 RBI, and hitting 253 with an OPS just under 800. He's been a very, very good ball player. However, the PCL, the league in which they play at AAA, is a notorious hitters league, so those numbers are a little bit inflated. However, he's a good hitter, and he's gonna be one of those guys that the league might not be caught up to him. If he can hit a fastball, he's gonna do well right out the chute, and hopefully he has 2 games to build up that trade value for whatever trade we decide to predict in the second segment or third segment of this show.
Yeah. Should we jump into a couple super chats real quick before we forget
Absolutely, we got super chats. Let's go.
Yeah, we've got 2 of them. They're not actually about Freeland, so this is more of a break from our Freeland talk. First, we got our buddy Richie.
Let's go, Richie.
$1.99 super chat. Disappointing that Conforto is having success. I will never be disappointed when a guy wearing my favorite team's uniform is having success. Luckily, nothing about today's game was so successful that Richie necessarily needs to be very, very disappointed. 1 hit and 1 error that they didn't call an error. All comes out.
He needs to stop. He needs to stop mixing those together. If he can have like a clean game where he has 3 hits and not an error, maybe that's the next thing somebody needs. He needs a defensive coach,
and just take the day off when he's going to do the errors. Just don't play.
That's a good call.
Only play when you're getting the hits.
I was listening, as I'm sure you guys were as well. Before we get to the next super chat, I was unaware that apparently Conforto switched to a smaller or a lighter bat recently. That was one of the things what Tom Neverett was saying, according to Kevin.
No, it's Ted Neverett.
Ted Neverett. No, that's Ted Nugent. That's a different band. If you're calling them bands. But interesting, he's had the success since going to the lighter bat, which is one of the things we were talking about with Mookie and all that, that's more of a deep cut for the people who watch every day. We were mentioning that a couple weeks ago. But hey, at least there's a causation there's a reason why he's doing more better at the plate. Bacon Tree, great name. $5 super chat. Mookie is pulling baseballs. Shohei with runners in scoring position. Conforto fooling us again. Yama with a half of Fangraphs WAR today. 3.3 on the season. Kim hit. El Bencho cold hurt. Play him. There's a lot of words at the end there, but
he's saying it's funny that Kim didn't play when he was healthy, and now he is playing when he's not healthy.
Yeah.
Although I do think some of the time that Kim wasn't playing when everybody wanted him to be earlier was because he was hurt then too, after he fouled the ball off his foot or whatever. But yeah, overall, the fact is right now this roster it's not a deep roster right now. You've got James Outman and Esteury Ruiz, both of whom are AAA players. You've got Kim and Edman, who are probably hurt, and so it's like, well, you got to play somebody, because you got a backup catcher. One of the catchers is sitting, which means one of those 4 guys, at least one of those 4 guys, has to play every game. The 4 guys who probably none of them should be playing right now. I hope we figure out what's going on with Edman, or more to the point, I hope Edman figures out what's going on with Edman and starts playing gooder. Because him playing batter is making me sadder.
Johnny Owen also said, Clint, come on, more better. Guys, we have fun with bad grammar. You've heard of hooked on phonics. We need to come up with some variant that's the bad version of hooked on phonics.
I just need to pull my English degree off the wall, and anytime somebody complains, I'll just hold it up. Don't worry.
It isn't. We do.
What is it that the guy on Law and Order used to say? It's okay. We're authorized.
There, it's intentional dumbness, guys. Intentional dumbness for fun. One final thing on Alex Freeland, and by the way, we appreciate everybody hanging out with the chat. We have over 350 joining us here on YouTube right now. Appreciate you guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, like the video, share with your friends. Going hard in the paint right now. Trade deadline is coming up, and we are going to be making our trade predictions a little bit later in the show. But our buddy Mike Doom Sal has had his eyes on Alex Freeland a lot at AAA. He covers him very, very well. Lives in the area, I believe, but says Freeland has an inconsistent bat but good eye at the plate, generating a lot of walks, and has a strong arm at third. I like having somebody that, you've been missing that in the lineup with Max Muncy out. Having that guy with a very good eye at the plate, I think it just helps the Dodgers overall, having that kind of body. But
especially when we're talking about Oklahoma City, the PCL being a hitters league and everything, I would be more concerned if Freeland's numbers were inflated by a high slugging percentage, because I wouldn't trust that. Dude's got a 377 on base percentage. 124 points between his batting average and his on base percentage means that dude can take a walk, and that's not impacted nearly as much by playing in a hitter's league or whatever. And so I'm I'm feeling good about that part of Freeland. And the strikeout rate, only 22-ish%. So, solid strikeout rate. He'll strike out a little more in the big leagues, so probably be a little higher than MLB average, but, not too many strikeouts and some walks. Sounds good at the bottom of this order.
Moving on, guys, we got a bulk. We can leave the Freeland up there, but we got a bulk updates here just for fun. And Kevin, I don't know if you were like me, but the first thing I did, like a lot of fans did, you see Dalton Rushing in the starting lineup 2 days in a row, and you're like, oh, this is a showcase. This is 100% a showcase. Well, the media, the reporters there at Great American Ballpark asked Dave Roberts about that, or kind of mentioned, hey, there's been some chatter about the Rushing rumors, something we talked about, I think, on Saturday, with the Red Sox having reported interest in them. Dave mostly quieted down those rumors. The easy to assume idea that it's a showcase for a trade. I'm saying he stopped just short of shutting him all the way down, because when I see Dave say, I just don't see a world in which he is traded, he's leaving a little bit of a door open. What you think of Rushing in there, Kev?
Yeah, they talked about it. Tim Neverett talked about it on the radio broadcast. Apparently, the Dodgers are going to face a lot of lefties coming up, so they were giving Dalton Rushing the opportunity tonight against a right-handed pitcher, and then they'll just let Will Smith face all the lefties. So that's why Dalton Rushing was in the back-to-back. Yeah, as you said, Dave isn't really one to, he's not a Sith Lord. He doesn't really deal in absolutes, but this is as close as he'll get to saying, no, Dalton's not going anywhere. I would be shocked if Rushing was traded at this point, simply because I don't think the Dodgers organization remembers that Hunter Fiducia exists.
No.
So.
Yeah, I don't think Rushing's going anywhere either. And even when we talked about him the other day, I said they should be open to trading him, but that was in the context of a Jarren Duran trade. We know Duran's not coming. There's probably not an outfielder anywhere near Duran's quality coming. And the Dodgers are absolutely not going to trade Dalton Rushing for a relief pitcher when just a year ago they wouldn't trade him for Garrett Crochet. And so, I do think, for me, I feel like I don't see a world in which he's going anywhere is about as concrete as you're going to get.
Just never forget, the sensationalism will live on in me, and I could find a way to spin a headline to make it something. So I figured we'd have a little bit of fun in pointing out Dalton Rushing isn't going anywhere. A big trade might not happen. I don't really know. I've been kind of laying the groundwork the same way the Dodgers have been laying the groundwork, kind of everybody prepare to be underwhelmed. Shifting gears, let's talk about Max Muncy, because Max Muncy is starting a minor league rehab assignment tomorrow, something we already talked a little bit about here on the show. Dave had said there's a slim chance he could return before the end of this road trip where they go through Tampa Bay next. Like you said earlier, Jeff, I am perfectly fine with him returning on the next homestand. Give him a couple of days. There's no need to rush it. As of now, he's still ahead of schedule. He's about 4 weeks removed from that knee issue, but to get Muncy back, oh baby, let's go. You gotta love that. Either of you guys, any thoughts on Muncy, or you just want to kind of speed run through the headlines here?
Yeah, I don't have anything major to say about Muncy that hasn't already been said.
Well, the other stuff, let's go to Blake Snell. He's also starting, as we know, more confirmed, starting against his old mates in Tampa Bay over the weekend, as Fabian Ardaya gets us the bulk updates here. Also, the other one that I thought was of note from this particular tweet, Tony Gonsolin is not close to starting any sort of throwing program or even just throwing a baseball at all. Basically feels like a non-factor for the rest of the season. Kevin, do you have any expectations for Catman? Is there any hope just for the hell of it, or is there no point in holding out any hope for Tony coming back?
I don't think we're going to see Tony Gonsolin for the rest of the year, or at least I would be very shocked if we did. I think with the rotation getting healthy, we're finally moving to the sixth man. Tony Gonsolin's best interest, I don't think they even want to risk further injury to whatever is happening. I also think them putting him on the 60-day IL as quickly as they did was pretty telling about the severity of the injury. So I would be really surprised if we see him again, especially considering that pretty much the rotation that we wanted healthy at the beginning of the year, by the end of this week, will be in play.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really nice to actually have all of the good players, living players. There it is for you, Jeff. I got it in there once
I was
again.
surprised we didn't get it earlier since the Reds literally threw out a pitcher named Burns.
Oh, I don't actually think about it. I don't think about the context of it. The other one you had also saw on that screen, the Kike Hernandez update, but there's a deeper or more better update to upset people. If you want to go to that next tweet there, Jeff, we see there's not much clarity, according to Dave, on Kike Hernandez. I personally don't really care about Kike Hernandez being back. As long as he's back by the postseason, which is what the expectation is, because he's a postseason player. But interesting, I don't know what non-surgical little procedures are to try and move things along. I don't know if maybe he went to the optometrist again, and then he also went to Muncy's chiropractor, and maybe he saw a shaman or something like that. But Jeff, what is non-surgical little procedures?
When it's an elbow injury, I assume we're talking injections. That would be my guess. I've got tendonitis in my elbow, and sometimes my boys want to play catch with me anyway. And so every 8 months or so, I go to my doctor and say, "Shoot me up, doc," and put some more whatever it is, magic juice in my right elbow. And so I'm guessing, Kike's job is different than mine a little bit, but his job also involves people wanting him to play catch with them. And so I would guess we're talking injections of some sort, because I don't know that there's anything a chiropractor can do on an elbow. So probably.
I'm just slightly perturbed here that you didn't tell me before I brought you aboard the channel that you're a raging drug addict.
Yeah. The good news is I don't know what the drug is. So when I do eventually start jonesing for it, I won't know what I need to buy. And so I think that'll keep me safe.
It also means when eventually you get popped by the feds, you have plausible deniability.
Yeah, I don't know. Talk to my doctor, bro.
What I imagine it's ringworm cream. Shout out to our friend Fernando Tatis Jr. Finally, I saw somebody asking in the chat earlier about Sasaki. What's the latest with Roki Sasaki and Jack Harris? Had that little blurb. Not too much. He's still not facing hitters, but he's throwing a baseball again to a catcher downhill tomorrow, which is a bullpen session. So tracking towards something. I don't really... Kevin, you mentioned the 6-man rotation, or at least the 6 dudes we sort of expected. Roki was one of those. He's the only one who is missing right now. And then right now, the 6th guy is Emmett Sheehan or Dustin May in whatever order. But with Roki, I mean, he's somebody who could maybe be a bullpen piece for this team, maybe be a 5th starter or a 6th starter for a week or something like that. I don't know about you guys. My expectations are on the floor for Roki helping this team further this season, but maybe you guys or people in the chat feel different about Roki. Somebody?
I would see him in the bullpen probably. He needs a 3rd pitch, so until he develops one, not really. I wouldn't say he's a high ceiling starter option until he gets that 3rd pitch. And with how late in the season it already is, I think they could just toss him in the bullpen and let him just, empty the tank for an inning or two and see how he does there and build his confidence that way. I also could see him making AAA starts towards the end of the year. Again, just to build his confidence up a little bit. I do think a little bit of his struggles this year were between the ears. New country, new league, new baseball. There's a lot to overcome in one season. So I think they could do a lot of right things here. I think the only wrong option is to bring him back prematurely, whatever that looks like.
That's fair. And there's no way that's going to happen. And really those are the only 2 options. Either he pitches in the big league bullpen or the Oklahoma City rotation. I think the Oklahoma City rotation is a lot more likely. It's just, even if you want to get cynical about it and say, hey, if we is in the minors long enough, that's no longer MLB service time. Maybe we get an extra year of him at the back end, when he is good, get that 7 years of control instead of 6. So there's plenty of reasons, long-term, he's a starter. His 3rd pitch, he does have a 3rd pitch. It's just not effective yet. And so it needs to it needs work, and unless their bullpen is desperate. But with, Dustin May and some of these guys, seems like there's a lot of guys lining up, even if you're moving starters to the bullpen, who would be ahead of Roki in that line. And so Roki making starts for Oklahoma City to finish the season whenever he's ready probably makes the most sense as far as I'm concerned.
Keep his arm moving, as Dave Roberts might say. Man 5 Dodge saying for Kike, it was aggressive popsicle eating. Maybe that's part of his radical new treatment. I love this one from Mark Sotelo saying, "My God, the drug use and gambling on this podcast." That's a quality. That's a quality.
Brought to you by Emmanuel Classe.
Hey, my doctor's injections are brought to you by Bet Online, is what I'm telling you.
For now.
I do want to let Neil know in the chat. He says Kike probably injured his elbow pitching. It's his left elbow. So I wouldn't put it past Kike to pitch with his left hand in a Major League Baseball game, but he hasn't yet. So this is probably unrelated to that.
Mm-hmm. Let's shift gears here. This is the one that definitely could get us all looking like idiots. Not that we need help to look like idiots, myself and Kevin specifically. Definitely Kevin specifically, no reason. I just love throwing you under the bus these days. But I figured we can have our official trade predictions this week. I was thinking, or today, ahead of trade deadline on Thursday. By the way, guys, we will be live during the trade deadline. We're starting 2 hours before the deadline and running a half an hour or longer after the deadline to kind of react to everything and pay attention to what's going on with the team and the league, the division, all that kind of stuff. So hang out with us here, all Dodgers, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. But let's make fools of ourselves. I've already been talking a whole bunch for too many minutes straight, enough so where I'm seeing people leave the chat. So I want to bring some more Jeff and other voices in here. Jeff, you lead us off. I want your trade prediction, kind of what that prediction looks like and the why.
Okay. My prediction is David Bednar. The why is because the Dodgers know that I have his number and want us to get him on this podcast. David Bednar is right up there. Like among the closers likely to be traded or good relievers likely to be traded at this deadline, like Bednar and Helsley are probably the top of the market among guys who are likely to be traded. Yohan Duran maybe going to get traded. The Twins started selling today, so maybe Duran's going somewhere. Maybe Griffin Jacks is, but that's kind of the market. And going back to Pittsburgh, I kind of picture Ryan Ward headlining. You got to put it in quotes because Ryan Ward is in AAA purgatory right now, but he's hitting the cover off the ball in AAA. And I think maybe part of the reason that he's still in AAA is because like we've talked about, not an obvious place for him on the big league roster. We're not sure about his defense, all those things. But also because it's easier to trade a dude who his track record is, man, this dude can hit, than his track record being, well, this guy struggled when he got called up, and which is probably what would happen. But Ryan Ward strikes me as the kind of guy who would fit in on the Pirates, where they can let him grow into his role, not have to worry about, we're trying to win the World Series right now. We know they want some hitters, though, because right now they have Paul Skeens going out there, going 3-27 on the season with a 1.1 ERA because they can't score any runs. So Ryan Ward could headline that. Hunter Fiducia, I think, would also be included in that trade. I think Fiducia is a big league level catcher and could go there. So I'm thinking Ryan Ward, Hunter Fiducia, and one or two other lesser names that that nobody is going to cry too hard about. So I think a 3 or 4 for 1 for David Bednar is the move the Dodgers are making.
Yeah, David Bednar would absolutely help this team a whole bunch. I would hope that he's not married to the idea of needing to be a closer for the team. I'm pretty sure he'd be fine to pitch in any role if it means potentially getting to what they call a postseason, something he's never heard of, and potentially a World Series ring, with all due respect. Kevin, you want to go next, or you want me to go next?
No, I got it. All
right.
It's top of mind. I'm also going to do a reliever. I have Pete Fairbanks being traded.
You've been high on Fairbanks, man.
Well, okay, so the selfish reason is I really just want more Pete Fairbanks content because he's just so funny.
I thought maybe you had his phone number or something.
No, I don't, unfortunately. But I'm sure he is pretty funny over a text chain. But that's the selfish reason. The real baseball reasons We know he's a Tampa Bay Ray. So there's with Andrew Friedman coming from the Tampa Bay Ray organization, when teams are about to do trades, they have each club has their own player evaluation, and they all evaluate players differently. With Andrew Friedman, though, because he's from Tampa Bay, their evaluations between Tampa and Los Angeles are a lot closer than, like, say, the Dodgers and the Twins, most because they probably use more similar metrics in Tampa Bay and Los Angeles. So I think a trade with the Rays is easier to swing in general. The Rays value similar things that the Dodgers do, so I could see Pete Fairbanks being moved for that. He's also a flexible reliever. He has 17 saves this year, but that's not his only role. He's willing to take down the 7th or the 8th. He can take down the 9th. I think another reason, too, is he's not that top of market guy. He's very good. He's like a 2.86 ERA. He's a very, very, very good reliever. He's not like an elite, Yohan Duran level reliever or Emmanuel Clase before he spoke a little bit too much with Ipe. So for that reason, I think Andrew Friedman's also more willing to trade for him because he might not have to pay that premium price for Pete Fairbanks. It'll still be steep, but it won't be like top of the market. So I was thinking the reason I thought of Pete Fairbanks anyway was they had just traded their catcher, Danny Jansen. So I could see potentially like Hunter Fiducia, not headlining the trade, but being part of it. And then one of Ryan Ward or Eduardo Quintero. Also going in that trade, paired with Fiducia and like maybe a low-level pitcher. It'll be a 3-for-1 for Pete Fairbanks, and I think that could potentially get it done. Again, player evaluations are so difficult, but because if the Dodgers are high on Quintero, chances are the Rays are as well for a similar reason. And with Ryan Ward going back, I know his problem's been defensively. The Rays are a very good metrics-based organization. They're very good at positioning their players. Similar strengths to the Dodgers. So I think he could also flourish in the outfield there where, they'll move him 2 steps one direction. And that helps Ryan Ward, be a more major league acceptable defender.
My concern about Fairbanks is that the last 2 years, his strikeout rate has gone way down.
Yeah.
And looking at the numbers, so has his fastball velocity. And I think those aren't unrelated. And so I worry that, because 2 years ago, he was averaging 99. Now he's at 97.3.
Yeah.
And his fastball is down, or strikeout rate is down to below, or roughly league average, if that. And so that's
he's
my
still
concern.
missing bats though. He's still 99th percentile in barrel rate. So he's still inducing a lot of really, really poor contact, which is why I'm okay with it as well. He also has 1 more year of team control. I think it's a club option. So if it doesn't work out again, they can cut bait. It's a Andrew Friedman, kind of move where he gets a guy with control, but only if he wants it. So the strikeout rate is concerning. That is something that I did see, and probably why he isn't going to be traded for with that elite level, that top tier stuff, but it's good enough for 1 year or 2.
Yeah. I agree with the idea. He feels very much like the type of pitcher the Dodgers would love to go out and acquire, the type of dudes that they end up acquiring somewhere in the middle of a playoff run or something like that, then disposing of them the next year, cough, Ryan Yarbrough or something like that. Or what's his name? The guy who's a Cub now and killing it. I can't remember the name
Michael
right now.
Bush?
Michael Bush.
No. The other guy, the reliever. They traded him away during spring training.
Ryan Brazier.
Brazier, there you go, Ryan Brazier. I was going to say, it's generally unimportant of the name, but yeah, Fairbanks is one of those guys, and all of the Sharks that are looking for additions at this trade deadline, looking for closer types, they're probably not going to be sniffing down there all the way. And I think ESPN today had Fairbanks as like the 24th out of 30 in trade deadline top 50 or top 30 list, something like that.
Should we save the phrase "sniffing down there" for our Saturday episodes?
You need to go to more Yankees games.
Hey, that lady was having a good time. All right,
Your turn, Clint.
It is my turn, but I also like Brock Stewart coming back home. GI just said in the chat, and I think somebody else mentioned Brock Stewart. He was a nice guy, and I met his dad, and his dad is also a very, very nice dude who was a scout for the Tampa Bay Rays when we were talking to him a couple years ago. But my guy, I talked about him today on Dodgers territory, so everybody's already had it spoiled. You guys went relievers. I need outfield competition. I want the guy we've talked about too much over the last 2 years, Luis Robert, because Lou Bob has been actually quietly, loudly kicking some ass over the last month, getting himself very much saying, please, somebody save me from this nightmare. What is he at? Hit a 26 game entering play on Sunday. This was from ESPN. 5 homers, 17 RBI, 5 stolen bases, and an 856 OPS. He plays of the players that will technically be available who can play center field. He is the best one, in my opinion. Now, the Red Sox aren't trading Jaron Duran. The Twins aren't trading Byron Buxton.
You just don't like how he looks.
Hey, he looks great for his age. What is he? 75. I'm not, as we talked about, Jeff and I talked about yesterday, I'm not exceptionally high on Harrison Bader being a needle mover. I understand we're talking about a dude. I'm mentioning a dude is hitting 209, 206, something like that right now. It looks ugly on paper, but upside and him escaping the south side, I think unlocks something for him. But in this, it does not mean that I am trading away or giving up on Michael Conforto, because I think you have 4 dudes in the outfield. Really, it's 2, but 4 dudes all competing with each other for playing time in the starting lineup in October. And it's really Lou Bob versus Conforto, who is either going to just die or be gooder than the other guy at baseball. To stop pissing people off, I'll stop saying gooder. But anyways, my trade as well. This one I found kind of difficult because I expect the White Sox to want what's the best cost. I think he's still pretty gettable. Is this is either too much or too little, but I'm starting with James Outman because if you take their center fielder, they're going to need a center fielder. Landon Knack I threw in there because he's an upside dude. I threw in Patrick Copen, who I believe is the 14th ranked prospect or something like that on MLB Pipeline, or Nick Frasso, throwing in one of those arms. Frasso has fallen on hard times when it comes to his prospect rankings, coming off of the shoulder surgery, starting to get a little bit more on track. But so I got Knack, Outman, Copen, or Frasso. And I'd go as far as if you need to throw in a Kendall George or somebody else. It feels like a lot for Lou Bob, but he does have more team control and the upside. I really like it. I really like the upside. But now bash me, everybody, please.
Well, the one thing you mentioned his recent performance, last 27 games, like you said, coming into today, 834 OPS. But the thing that I like is only 22 strikeouts and 99 plate appearances. Even you could do the math. That's right around a 22% strikeout rate. And that's roughly league average, because overall this season, 95 strikeouts in 332, which means that his strikeout rate before this good stretch was astronomical. We're talking, James Outman levels almost. And so if Luis Robert has figured out how to stop striking out all the time and hit the ball well, yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer that he's an improvement to this team, and I don't hate it. The actual trade you put in, I'd probably rather trade Frasso than Copen. I'm high on Copen, but overall, yeah, you gotta trade stuff to get stuff, and I don't hate this trade idea.
And the other part of it too is, I'm not viewing this trade as they are trading for the Michael Conforto replacement. Yeah, that's ultimately what's kind of happening, but they are trading for a James Outman replacement, a 4th outfielder essentially, or either Outman or Ruiz. Those 2 dudes, like I said earlier in the show, they should not be on this roster together at the same time and active. It's a terrible idea. If you can get some sort of upside dude in Lou Bob, and he does figure out how to somehow turn back time like Cher and go back to 2023, although I don't want to see 2023 Cher either. If he could go back to that all-star year, that all-star form, before he gave up on life, before Tony La Russa killed everybody's spirits there in Chicago, Dodgers could have themselves a hell of a ball player.
Tony La Russa and spirits, don't give him car keys.
Let's say, who's Cher? Did you mean chair?
Oh, Dennis.
Hold on. That was good. I booed, but that was good. That was good. How long were you sitting on that one?
About 5 seconds after you said it. But I don't know. I'm worried that we want Luis Robert for what he was and not necessarily what he is right now. And there's just a lot, like, you're taking a big swing for Lou Bob at this rate. And I can't get the image of him dogging it last year out of my head. That's just something that I don't like that.
Remember though, the Dodgers have players that will hold him accountable. White Sox don't have that. They don't have anybody that's willing to hold anybody accountable.
He showed up at the stadium last year. I wouldn't have done that much for that team. You know?
I know. That's just something that I know the White Sox are an absolute dumpster fire, but it's still, you know, for a veteran on that team, basically the best player on the team, just a really bad look.
Whoa, really Miguel Vargas is offended.
I don't think he was on the team yet, right? That was
Oh yeah,
no,
had to get traded like right now, yeah.
No, right now, yeah. I was talking about back then.
Again, for me, it's still I'm looking at having somebody better than a better fourth outfielder option. Where if Lou Bob figures out how to be good again, then Michael Conforto off the bench isn't the worst thing. The Dodgers have gotten away with having that type of dude off the bench before. Either way, you know, you kind of have to cut your losses. But if it's between walking away from this trade deadline, doing nothing, or getting Luis Robert and slightly overpaying, I'm happy with the overpay. And then I'm also assuming they're going to listen to us and go get David Bednar or something like that.
Yeah, the question is what the White Sox want for him, because it will be hard to trade your franchise player, even when he's fallen on hard times, for not a huge haul. And you know, I think Dodgers are more likely to give up a haul for him than for a reliever. But it's still, I don't know that those teams will be able to match up on the perception of Luis Robert enough to make a deal.
Yeah. Again, center field options, they're not that great. I would probably, if you can get Ramon Laureano, maybe take him. But for the exercise, this was my trade prediction. I guess it's more of a trade.
It's kind of interesting. Dan Brown's comment here. It's time to trade the farm for Byron Buxton. We don't need a what-if player. What a world we live in that Byron Buxton is the solution to what-if players, because Byron Buxton, you know, for most of his career has been the definition of a what-if player, you know. So, yeah, and somebody else in the comment said, what if Buxton gets hurt again? Yeah, that is the big what-if with Buxton.
Yeah.
If Buxton was available, I don't think Luis Robert's name would have been said in this episode.
Yeah.
Or if there was a guarantee that his hamstrings are attached to his body.
They're not a fan of doing that at all. But guys, those are our three big trade predictions. If you're watching this after the fact, sound off in the comments. I'm interested in hearing what other people think or hope, or really it's more of a prediction. What moves the Dodgers are going to make at Thursday at 3 p.m. or before 3 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah. JR in the chat says we had Luke Raley off the bench a few years ago. I'll take Conforto as a bench role.
Mm-hmm. Please help us. Well, if we don't
how
have any
slow
other thoughts,
is Conforto today? Couldn't even score on a squeeze bunt. Like I know it's a safety squeeze, but run faster, bro. Says the fat guy who's doing a podcast.
Can we start running squeezes and things like that with like actual players who can run? Not Freddie. I know Dave said that he didn't mean to send Freddie, but come on, Michael Conforto and Freddie Freeman's who we're doing this with.
Yeah, Rojas definitely bunted the ball too hard, but still,
Hey Jeff, you want to pop away? Where it was a Cole's comment up there? Give him a Hall and Oates. It plays well. For what Kevin has done to us of recent vintage, because it's not Hall, Kevin, it's Hall.
My dad one time. We used to play this game. He had satellite radio on his TV through, you know, whatever satellite provider he had. And so it would play the music, but it would also show the albums up on the TV and stuff. And they're playing a Hall and Oates song, picture of the album with Daryl Hall and John Oates on the TV screen. And my dad asked, "Are these guys brothers?" Their band name is their two last names, a white guy and a black guy. And my dad asked, "Are they brothers?" So my brother said yes. Hall and Oates Johnson. That's their name. So now in our family, we refer to Hall and Oates as the Johnson brothers.
There's a lot of things that go on in the old Snydog family.
Yeah,
they're all weird.
Our listeners have learned a lot about my family and music. We learned about my mom's favorite Beatle the other day. Now we know about the Johnson brothers. There's a lot.
Shout out to Seth Klein's comment after our show Sunday, because I thought it was gold. And if you know, you know. If you don't know, go check out the comments and comment yourself while you're there. We'd appreciate it. But I have nothing else to add to this show, guys. Dodgers did good. Dodgers won a game. They started a win streak. That's what I'm calling it right here. They played well, and we made our predictions for what they're going to do. Andrew Friedman is watching. He's getting on. He's like, oh, I should call the White Sox again, like I did last year. But again, sound off in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts on all these things.
Maybe Andrew's going to text me and ask me for David Bednar's phone number.
I don't think he's going to text you.
Is that how trades work?
I don't think he's going to do that.
Before we get out of here.
Hold on, wait. Do you want me to give you Andrew Friedman's number so you can text him David Bednar's number?
Yes.
All right, I'll do that. What do you got, Kev?
Jack Harris is reporting on why Alex Freeland might. So he's not a guarantee to be called up. It's likely to be called up, but it's if either Ha-Seong Kim or Tommy Edman need to go on the IL. Tommy Edman said he doesn't. So his ankle, as Jack Harris said, flared up while running the bases yesterday. Tommy Edman doesn't believe he needs to go on the IL. He doesn't think it's that big a deal. As we all know, that's not his decision. it's whatever Andrew Freeman did feel like. Right. So
this isn't the tweet you're talking about, but Fabian's reporting the same thing.
So we put that breaking news.
Honestly, even if they're both entirely healthy, giving Ha-Seong Kim just a little bit of time off just to reset and for 10 days, why not?
I would rather give Tommy Edman the time off and the rest that his ankle needs, because he's going to be, in my opinion, far more important for the Dodgers in the playoffs, because he can play center or he can play second base, or in a pinch he could play short if you need to. He did it, and they won a World Series with him at shortstop. But hopefully one of those guys go to the IL, because I really want to see Alex Freeland. I don't want to have this, I don't want to be edged about Alex Freeland.
I think this is definitely a case of deciding which one of those guys is going on the IL, not whether one of them is, because one of those guys is going on the IL, if not both of them.
Mm-hmm. All right, now, can I officially wrap up, guys?
Wrap up. Let's go home. I'm tired of this.
You're at home. You're in your mom's basement. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks for the super chats. Those things really do help support the show. If you're looking for a different way to support the show, do check out patreon.com/realfrg. That is a way you can support the show with some money, if that is something you are inclined to want to do. Our most popular tier is the $5 tier, which is cheaper than a Dodger dog. I can confirm that much. But with that, you get access to our Discord server where we're talking trade deadline. We're talking during the game a whole bunch, and everybody, nice community of Dodgers fans hanging and growing there. Also, you can click the join button here on YouTube if you want to not go to a different platform. If you want to do none of that, the best way to support the show is hit that like button, hit the subscribe. We are getting super close to 20,000 subscribers, so thank you a whole bunch for your support there. It's been a lot of fun over the last month, and it's going to keep being fun as the Dodgers either do good or do bad towards the rest of the season in October and all that. But thank you to the people who already support us. What else do I got to say? All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. That guy over there is Snydog. That guy over there is Skinner7Kevin. Give him a follow on the Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully we earn that thumbs up on the way out. It's completely free. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.